Released on January the 19th, 2017 in Japan and May 10th worldwide for PlayStation 4 and PC via Steam, we have Birthday's the Beginning. Developed by Toybox Incorporated and Tablet Incorporated, with publishing handled by Arc System Works and Nipponichi Software America, Birthday's the Beginning is a game by Yasuhiro Wada, the man best known for being the creator of the Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons series. The version of the game featured in today's review is the PC version of the game. The game is a sandbox game where you control an avatar to create an ecosystem that can create as well as sustain life. Much like other God games with SimEarth and SimLife coming to mind, the game takes place over millions of years where you watch your world evolve from plankton right up to creating the conditions required for humans to live. The story in Birthday's the Beginning takes a back seat with you playing as an unseen child who discovers a map in one of their grandfather's book. Following the map, the child is led to a cave where they meet Navi, a mysterious being whose job is to create life with a cube-shaped world. As Navi is unable to do it alone, it enlists your help to use your avatar and bring life to the barren world, and with that, your first steps to playing God begins. But, is the game any good? Find out in The Good. The game is surprisingly deep in terms of the elements required to create and evolve life. Despite the cute looking visuals, the game requires you to consider things such as land and sea elevation, which in turn affects the temperature of the land, as well as land to water distribution and moisture to determine what will live in your world. As well as having an ideal temperature to be born in, creatures and plants also have an adaptation temperature which gives you an idea what sort of temperatures they can survive at. As you create new creatures, you can use your avatar to capture them and gain information which you can refer to at any time. Of course, life doesn't just appear, so when you're not directly modifying the world in micro mode, you can watch it from a distance in macro mode, which is where time flows. If you're having a bit of trouble getting life to appear or evolve, there's also items you can receive and use in-game to give you a bit of a helping hand too, and the game's tutorial I felt explains things really well in regards to getting started. There's actually quite a lot more to the game than meets the eye. The game also has a very cozy feel to it. The music is complemented by a very relaxing piano track which also symbolises taking your time and doing things at your own pace. Unless you're playing one of the challenge missions in which you have a certain amount of time and certain conditions in order to create a particular creature. There's also a free mode in which you can edit the world any way you see fit, while the story has you progress in stages from growing the first plant on land and getting the first dinosaur, right up to bringing in modern humans, which is a pretty neat learning experience too. However, it isn't all neat because we're about to move on to the bad. The game feels more like a bad port than anything at the moment. I first started the game up using keyboard and mouse controls, and having the game tell me to move the stick for something is usually the first sign of trouble. The game also has a lack of key binding or controller binding options, as well as graphical options to be customized. Every time I started the game, it would always come up at windowed 1280 by 720 resolution, despite changing and saving the option to have the game in full screen 1920 by 1080. Lastly, the game also features no exit button, and pressing escape on the keyboard does not do anything. In order to close the game, I've had to press Alt and F4 to exit out. There's also been reports of graphical issues with the game as well, but minus the resolution issue I had, I never really came across that. I am hoping that a number of these issues do get addressed in the future, as they're more PC issues than anything, and if you have the game on console you can ignore my rambling here. I also had a few camera issues which plagued my playthrough of the game, especially when it came down to more precise movements like building my rivers to even general navigation. I would even struggle just to highlight certain creatures or plants in order to capture them, especially if the creature in question was a fish or was flying. Another issue I had was with collecting some of the items on the map as well. After time passes in macro mode and you re-enter your world in micro mode, you can pick up items that you can use to modify your world, force a mutation or evolution, or even store DNA to reuse at a later time. The problem is that some of those items, for whatever reasons, are right at the bottom or right at the top of the map, forcing you to either dig a hole as deep as you can, or create a single platform as high as you can just to get it. The game's camera and minimap also won't tell you whether it's at the bottom or at the top, so you'd have to try and figure out where it is unless you're in a corner. Otherwise, that was all the issues I really had with the game, so I think it's time I give the opinion. Birthday's the Beginning is a nice and cozy game at the end of the day. Sadly, it's burdened with poor PC porting issues and a lack of customizable options, but if you look past that, it's a great way to kill a day. I quite enjoyed playing God games like Seraph and Sim Life, so when I first heard about birthdays I was pretty excited about it. If playing God and bringing life to barren worlds is your jam, then this game is something worth looking into. If the issues I covered in the bed get patched up, then I think the game would be a lot better on PC, so for now, if you have a PS4 I would recommend picking it up for that. So with that, it's time for my rating. I would give Birthday's the Beginning Charles Darwin out of 10. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next Infinite Backlog review. If you enjoyed today's review, feel free to check out some of our other videos and subscribe for more. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram and our Facebook page. Once again, thank you for watching.